Throughout my time visiting all these different countries, I got to see lots of different ways to pick up a pilot. Shown in this first one is a Bremerhaven pilot being dropped off by helicopter. Pilots are most commonly dropped off or picked up by a standalone boat around this size, but on a rare occasion can be delivered/received by a really large boat that launches an FRB to come alongside our ship. In these cases, we usually set out the ladder to only a half meter or a couple of feet from the water's edge. On the subject of anchoring, you can see here, we mainly let it run out. I like hauling in less because it keeps me out in the Northern Europe cold. Moving on to a different operation that also takes place up on the bow, let's talk about mooring. On all ships I've been on second sailing, besides the King's Pointer, of course, we've always had two tugs, one up on the bow, one back on the stern, to help with our final positioning. Once in position, we send out our spring lines first, then the heads, followed by the breasts. Here you can see the forward mooring station on the Merce, Kansas. This is the after. Seamanship encompasses lots of aspects of shipping. Here you can see welding, and then this is us dropping the lifeboat for the COI we had in Houston. Moving on to cargo. I was on two different types of ships during second sailing. Oddly, both were container friendly. The first was a heavy lift general cargo ship. When I boarded in Concord, California, they were discharging over 600 TEUs full of ammunition off at an army base. Next, I was on the Merce, Kansas, seen in the video. The Merce, Kansas is much larger. In comparison, the TEU capacity was wild. The Ocean Glory capped out at 994 TEU, while the Merce, Kansas could hold 4,154 TEU. While the Ocean Glory lacked in capacity, one good thing about it was that it didn't have to rely on cranes at the dock in order to discharge. The Ocean Glory has 3 cranes that can discharge any container weight. Amongst other things, the downside is that these cranes are very slow, so gantry cranes, like seen in previous videos, are most commonly used. Multiple at a time. On the Merce, Kansas, I've seen 5 being used at the same time. Here's another fun photo of a gantry crane. To transition smoothly into stability, you have to go down into the cargo hold in order to test the bilge alarms, which are seen here. You can see they're pretty full, so we need to empty them. If they are full, like seen in the photo, you need to process and discharge them. Here you have the stern section of the Merce, Kansas. It has pretty interesting framing, and this is the only watertight door on the Kansas. It goes back to shaft alley. Now this is shaft alley. You can see we have transverse framing up top and longitudinal framing down below. A unique mix. Right here we have the tunnel to the fin stabilizers, which also help stabilize the ship if working. Sadly, on the Merce, Kansas, they were decommissioned throughout